My best friend slept with my wife, so I got his mom pregnant. My friend Josh was 28 years old and lived in his mom Linda's basement while she cooked all of his meals and paid the bills. He thanked her by calling her a hag when she asked him to take out the trash once a week. He sold fake workout powder online to teenage boys while spending the profits on cam girls while his mom paid his phone bill. My life was actually going pretty great. My wife Amy was this amazing nurse who worked 12-hour shifts saving sick kids and still came home with enough energy to laugh at my dumb jokes. We had just bought our first house and I had a ring hidden in my sock drawer, planning to propose at the spot where we had our first date on her birthday next month. Josh came over all the time to eat our food, watch our TV, and complain about how women these days were all gold diggers while he lived off his mother's minimum wage salary and had never paid for a date in his life. The warning signs started with Amy's night shifts suddenly not showing up on her paychecks and Josh being too busy to come over anymore, which was weird because he literally had no life outside of a failed Twitch streaming career and harassing women in Instagram comments. I found out the truth when Josh pocket dialed me during one of their hotel hookups and I heard Amy moaning his name. I sat in my car listening to them trash talk me and planned their next meetup at the hotel they had been using for 6 months. Josh had been paying for it with money he forced his mom to give him for his fake business, while Amy used our emergency credit card to buy them dinner on DoorDash. Instead of confronting them, I decided to play the long game. I wanted them both to suffer in ways that would haunt them forever. Josh's mom Linda worked at the grocery store where I shopped and always looked dead inside from years of Josh treating her like an ATM with a cooking function. When her car died and Josh ignored her calls for help, I drove her home and listened to her sob about how she had failed as a mother. I started coming over to fix things Josh was too lazy to handle, like her leaking sink and broken fence. She would make me these incredible dinners while telling me about how she used to have dreams before she spent 30 years taking care of men who treated her like a servant. After Josh screamed at his mom for interrupting his video game to tell him his grandmother died, Linda got drunk and kissed me and said she needed to feel anything other than worthless for once in her miserable life. We started hooking up every time Josh was with Amy. I told her my plan to get her pregnant and destroy them both at once, and she laughed so hard she spilled her wine. She said, "Let's make a baby that will actually love me, unlike the disappointment I raised." And that's when I knew I was falling for her. We spent 4 months building our relationship while Josh and Amy thought they were still getting away with everything. Josh kept borrowing money from me and his mom to fund his affair with my wife, while telling us both different lies about what he needed it for. We would compare his excuses and laugh about how stupid he thought we were. Linda took a pregnancy test the week before Thanksgiving, and when it came back positive, she cried tears of joy and said, "This baby is going to have a father who actually loves it, unlike the piece of shit I raised who can't even say thank you when I hand him a plate." We decided Thanksgiving dinner was the perfect place to nuke both their lives because Linda's entire family already hated Josh for being a freeloading disappointment, and they would absolutely lose their minds when they found out what we had done. At Thanksgiving dinner, Josh sat on his phone the entire meal while his pregnant mother served everyone, and Amy kept touching his leg under the table, thinking nobody noticed. Linda stood up after everyone was done eating and announced she was pregnant. Josh actually laughed and said, "What idiot would knock up a used-up old woman like you?" Linda smiled and pointed at me and said, "Your best friend who you betrayed by screwing his wife for 6 months in hotels you paid for with money you stole from both of us. While you were disrespecting your mother and your friend, I was showing him what it's like to be with a real woman who appreciates a good man when she finds one, instead of spreading her legs for the first loser she finds." Josh literally fell backward off his chair, while Amy spit red wine onto Linda's white tablecloth. Linda just kept going with, "Oh, and Josh, let me make it clear that your best friend is now your stepfather, and your new sibling is going to get all the love and attention you never deserved. This baby won't grow up to be a disappointment who treats women like objects and his mother like a maid." Josh tried to flip the table but hurt his back, while Amy begged me to forgive her. I just handed her the divorce papers I'd been carrying for 2 months. Linda kicked Josh out that night and told him the basement was being turned into a playroom for his new little brother.